Hello zombie apocalypse fans. Alright, so I gotta be clear, this is a review of the Walking Dead game. Not the TV series, but the video game. That'll probably piss some people off and other people will be overjoyed by it, but just so we know. But for now, let's talk about this game that everyone seems to be talking about. The Walking Dead. So the Walking Dead video game starts out amidst the beginning of the zombie apocalypse and you're a criminal named Lee. Of course you're gonna play as a convicted criminal. It's either convicted criminal or cop. Those are your two zombie apocalypse options. Or nerd who ends up getting Emma Stone. I know, only in the zombie apocalypse. Long story short, in a nutshell, Lee runs across a girl named Clementine and he's ultimately trying to get her to her parents. And in that, you meet some friends, you get some allies, you make a camp, and then you uproot, and you have your Walking Dead video game. Now, what really surprises me is that the game is really fun and entertaining, and all it is a point-and-click game. You don't have a menu system, you don't have a series of weapons you get, you can't just open fire on zombies, unless the game says, hey, now's the time you can open fire on zombies. And even then, more or less, you just run or beat them with wrenches. And even then, you really run. It's one of those games where you have things on the screen you can interact with, so you click on it, it's like, oh, that's a wrench. You go over here, click on that, oh, that's a coffee table. You go over to a person, you click on them, and then you have a bunch of dialogue options, you can talk to them. 85 to 90% of the game is dialogue. I mean, the entire game is dialogue based, but that's really where the game shines. You know how a lot of games make the claim to like, hey, what you do in this game really is going to affect the game later on. Then you're like, well, I guess it kind of does. But no matter who I choose, by the third game, Udine is gonna end up being on the council anyway, so did it matter? But in The Walking Dead, you really feel like what you do matters. The first zombie I killed, I just beat his head in with a hammer. It was like, Clementine will remember that. I'm like, what do you mean she will remember that? I don't know if that really matters, but it was kind of like, what do you mean the kids, did I scar her for life? I would hate to think that was true. Although she's probably gonna see worse shit by the end. But of course you're like, oh, I'm gonna be your buddy because you're a nice person. Oh, I'm gonna be your buddy too. Oh, now they're at odds. You have to pick a side. That always sucks ass. It's a really volatile mix among your crew and you will end up siding with people you didn't expect to side with. And then people will die and you're like, that person's dead? And I really mean dead too. I don't want to call the people you meet in The Walking Dead expendable income, but they kind of are. They're more relevant than that, so calling them that kind of cuts them short, but they can die. There will be people where you're like, he could have died an episode ago, or he can live to the end of the next episode. You don't know. Like, you'll be holding someone over a ledge and there's a bunch of zombies there and you're like, I could let him go. He's screwed up a couple times, so, I might be justified in letting him go. But if you do, you gotta deal with consequences and all that unhappy shit. Now, I say episode because the game breaks itself up among 5 episodes. And the cool gimmick of the whole thing is an episode came out every month and a half or 2 months or so. So people would play one episode. Each episode's only like a couple hours long. It doesn't take you too long to beat an episode. And they're just on pins and needles. They're like, I want to play the next episode. Have to wait. Oh shit, it's coming out. I'm getting really pumped. And then that day comes where you can get the new episode and they download it like at midnight that night. As much as people hate it, they actually love it. They love to hate it and they hate to love it. That's a really cool element. And that's really fun and I like that. And I missed out on that because I just downloaded every episode immediately and I was like, I'll just play them all back to back. And when you see pictures of The Walking Dead or footage, you're like, it's cel-shaded cartoon bullshit. It's not actually gonna do The Walking Dead justice. No, it completely and totally does. I mean, I imagine they did it this way because it takes less production to get it done. They don't have to fine detail everyone's skin pores and doesn't take 9 years to make. There are a couple times in this game my jaw was on the floor. I was just like, I can't believe that just happened. Really, it takes a lot for a game to drive me to that point, but I was genuinely in disbelief of the situation. And where the game really shines is the relationship between Lee and Clementine. The relationship between the character you play and this little girl, it had to be good, otherwise this game would just be completely forgettable. You're like, oh yeah, they really tried with that, but not really. No, you really care about her and she does affect the way you play the game. There are some messed up people in this game. There was this one guy, he was on his knees, I had a pitchfork to his chest and I stabbed him in the chest. And Clementine was behind me, I didn't know it. It was like, Clementine saw that and she runs off and I was like, oh, reset. I didn't know she was there. And so I had the guy at pitchfork length and I was like, no, I'm not killing you because of her. It's kind of cool when a little girl in a game who doesn't really exist does influence how you play the game. There are some people in the game who are like, yeah, you deserve to be offed, but I have to be a good example to Clementine because I care because she's awesome. But I like the fact that you can't baby her either because this is the zombie apocalypse. So you're like, Clem, you need to toughen up and you need to learn how to shoot guns and hit zombies and shoot shoot them in the face. Yeah, Calder Clem. We're cool like that. You will be too if you play the game like you should. This game is like the dark horse of the year, because everyone's like, oh, Mass Effect 3, game of the year. This game of the year. That game's gonna be game of the year. Then The Walking Dead kind of sneaks in and it's like, hey, we're awesome. And then more people are starting to play it and they're like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. I don't know if it's gonna get game of the year based on the fact that it's not a very involved game in terms of structure and menu systems and weapon system. It's a point and click game. The game shines where it needs to shine. It doesn't promise to be anything other than a point and click game, but as far as point and click games go, it's gonna be the best one you're gonna get. Usually point and click dialogue based games like this really overdo it in what you can do. It's like, open the fridge, pull out the milk, pull off the milk cap, drink the milk, put the milk cap back on, put the milk back in the fridge, walk over to the table. You didn't close the fridge door, close the fridge. It gets really annoying. This game simplifies it. It's like, all right, point and click on what you need, get what you need, talk with who you need to talk to. Now, not everyone's gonna jump into this game and be like, oh yeah, it's totally awesome. I'm sure people want their involved menus and their Mass Effect zombie game. It's not going to be like that. It's just a dialogue-driven point and click game. That being said, it's certainly one of the most memorable games I've played lately, and I'm gonna play through this game again. That is saying something. The most memorable episode in the entire game, episode 2. I think everyone's gonna unanimously be like, yeah, episode 2 is that's messed up. I'm gonna give a point and click game this, but I really don't care. This game had me almost at tears a couple times, and I'm pretty sure at the end, actual tears. Not man tears or any cop-out like that. No, just tears. The Walking Dead video game is Awesometacular. So The Walking Dead video game, have you played it? And if you have, what's your favorite episode of the entire thing? I'm really curious about that. Whatever it is, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.